Okay, well, welcome to another Somerset Player podcast. And today we're lucky enough to be joined by Mark Davis. Mark Davis is the last player from West Somerset to play first-class cricket for Somerset.
Indeed. Thank you. It's going back a few years, though. Absolutely. But I'm very proud of that fact, though.
Good. Tell us about how you first got into playing for Somerset, because you were from Kilve, West Somerset boy.
Yeah, I played club cricket. I was the whole family. Basically, my father, my grandfathers, cousins, nephews. On some occasions, we could put the whole team out with the Davis clan, which was quite incredible. And one season, my mother entered me into a competition, the Somerset County Gazette, which I was not happy about. I was furious. But eventually, I did go to the trials. And from there, the winner was given free coaching during the winter. Now, you had to bat and bowl for 1 over against Ian Botham. He would select the winner. And from that, you get winter coaching. And that's really how my career started as a junior. From there, I played under 15s, moved through 16s into second team, and eventually a contract.
Okay, and what years are we talking about there, Mark?
77, so I mean 15, 16, when my mum entered me in this competition. As I said, I was not overly enamoured by it, but in hindsight, it was the best thing that could happen to me, because my dream, my ambition of one day playing professionally for Somerset out here, I got to, and it was fantastic.
You had quite a strong group of players out in West Somerset in those days, at your age group, didn't you?
Yes, there was. And when I went to the finals for the competition, Andy Robson, who a lot of people don't realise was a very, very good county cricketer at age group level, went on to play for England, coached England and Scotland at rugby. It was a very strong group. Yes, it was tough. For me, state school boy, coming up against loads of independent kids, and that was a tough environment for me, because it was usually me against them, but that gave me the spur, and that pushed me forward to become really to do it, and as best as I could.
And then who would you work with at that time in those age groups? Who would be
Well, Chris Twort back in the day was what we call a manager, and let's leave it at that with Twarty. Mr. Cricket, Mr. Somerset Cricket, very good, passionate man, but not a coach, and he'll admit that. So Pete Robinson was probably the first person I came across. In the winter nets, Kenny Palmer would be there as well. So we used to have winter nets with those two. That was always an interesting experience, because they would offset each other quite interestingly. But the cold winter nights in the indoor school was tough. Broken panes in the window, not conducive to swinging the ball. And it was bitterly cold January, February time. But Robbo just used to say, "Get on with it, lad," as you were aware of Robbo's stories. But that was it. From those winters, I then played age group, and in no time at all was in the second team. Characters like Merv Kitchen and Budgie Burgess were coming to the end of their time, and it was great to listen and learn from them. As you know, Peter Robinson regales many a story on a bar stool in the evenings on the away matches, so that was always entertaining. But you started to understand the culture of the club, which was very enlightening.
Just going back one moment, the Ondarchie Pavilion, of course, wasn't there in those days. No. So where was the indoor school?
Oh, beneath us. Beneath us now. Yes, we had a huge communal tub to bath in. We had a tiny viewing gallery. It was run down. It was not in best of health. But for me, just walking out as a Somerset player was everything. So facilities, etc., didn't really bother us. But it was an incredible time.
Yeah, I mean, you played second 11 cricket. What year would that have been?
Oh, probably talking late 70s. I didn't play age group cricket for long. I didn't play under 19 cricket. Peter Robinson suggested I should go straight into second team now and develop. And then eventually, it wasn't that long after, I got my first class debut, which was at Worcestershire away, which was an incredible feeling. I got my first ever first class wicket, which was, I'll never forget, a guy called Ted Hemsley, who played football and cricket. He played professional football as well. And that was just an amazing experience, the feeling of getting that first class wicket. And your debut is always very, very special.
And obviously, what's it like stepping into that changing room? Because you had some big characters in that room, didn't you? I mean, Viv and Boff, and obviously Joel was there, and quite a few others, Rosie.
I used to pinch myself even at training, thinking, a little boy, young lad from Kilve, little village, middle of nowhere in West Somerset, what am I doing with these guys? Richards, both of them, Garner. It wasn't just that, you know, opening the batting was Denning and Rose. Vic Marks, it was strung with top-class players, guys that I'd idolised growing up, and suddenly you're training with them and starting to play with them, which was an amazing feeling. And it took a while to actually feel that you belong there because of the greatness of that group. They started to win one-day trophies. They were dominant, weren't they, throughout? And to break into that side in the last 2 or 3 years before it actually broke up was an amazing experience. You know, everywhere we went, the matches were sellouts. Sunday League, sellout crowds. Home matches, Sunday League, people queuing 6 o'clock in the morning for a 2 o'clock start. It was incredible.
What is it about Somerset and one-day cricket? Because there's a real culture of following it here, isn't there?
Well, we have a huge following because from Cornwall right through. But equally, when you have Richards and Botham, the atmosphere was incredible. What were they going to do that day? It was just phenomenal, really. The expectation, you could cut the atmosphere with a knife everywhere we went. It really was. People were expecting something spectacular, something really special from these guys. And in one-day cricket, they invariably delivered.
And you played in several Benson and Hedges games, didn't you?
I did. I think 82, I think it was, when we won. I played, yeah, I played in a few of the rounds leading up. I was in contention for the final. Hallam Mosley was injured, missed most of the games. And actually, he was my mentor. He took me under his wing when I started playing professional cricket. It was a fantastic friend. And so I was delighted that he was fit. He played in the final. It meant I didn't. But I was delighted for him because he missed out on so many occasions. And you'll know, and the Somerset supporters will know, one of the most likeable guys that's ever graced the field here for Somerset.
Very popular man, wasn't he?
Terrific guy.
That 82 campaign, you got a Man of the Match award, didn't you?
I did. We were playing minor counties away. I took, I think, 3 for 20 odd, took a catch. Mr. Botham, or shall I call him Lord Botham, I think he got 3 for maybe 15 and suggested that he actually deserved Man of the Match ahead of me. I did qualify that by saying, with all due respect, I'm not going to win that many, so you get plenty. So I think I'll take this one, but he wasn't best pleased.
You were the bowler with Botham, didn't you, and Garner? And obviously, what sort of a feeling was that for you again? You know, still being a sort of boy from Kill, opening with world-class players.
Yeah, I was very lucky that we had Derek Taylor behind the sticks, and he was a brilliant wicket-keeper, but also a very calming atmosphere from his perspective, because when I would bowl an over or two, he'd come up to me and say, "Seam presentation's coming down really well, it's coming through well," or "Slightly not quite working today," would just give me a little bit of that advice. Actually, bowling alongside those two meant batsmen would go after you somewhat, because they weren't getting too many off Mr. Garner at one end. Both of them slightly different because he could be expensive. But I tended to find that they would play a few extra shots against you. I think my advantage was being left arm over. When I developed the in-swinger as well, things started to gel, and it went really well thereafter.
Who helped you with your bowling at that stage? Because you've taken back develop your in-swing.
Yeah, just pretty hard work on my own. Peter Robson's got a mindful information. Didn't always get it across brilliantly to us senior players, but his knowledge is second to none. There's no question about that. It was just hard work. I think when you're young, you try and bowl too quick, and doing so, you lose the ability to swing the ball. And that took me a year or two to understand. And once I developed it, things went really well for a couple of seasons.
They did go well for you because obviously you had a very big season in 84.
Yeah. Somerset were going to sign a seamer called Pygott from Sussex. That's right. And we went to Millfield pre-season training and he was introduced. And for whatever reason, he didn't come. And that opened the door for me. I then had the new ball. I was opening the bowling and I revelled in that situation. My in-swinger was going well. I just seemed to knock over top all the batsmen for fun. It was just incredible, really. I could slant it across, swing it in. I was fit. I'd worked really hard in the winter, and everything fell into place. And it was frustrating. I missed the last I think 4 or 5 championship matches, I had to dive backing up to an overthrow and did ligaments in my shoulder. So who knows what I might have ended up with that year, but it was a special year.
You had one very special match, didn't you? Northants away?
Yeah, Northants away. It was leading up to the game. I hadn't got a wicket in a couple of games, had 7 catches dropped. And the 7th one went down. I went down on my knees and pasted the ground. I was so angry and frustrated. But anyway, I thought, okay. So we went to Northants, flattish wicket, and they just kept nicking it, which was wonderful. So first innings, I got 7 for 55. And I got 4 more in the second innings. They had a South African quickie who I bounced out last ball of the innings, who then came up to me and suggested in the rematch he would be going for me. A certain player of ours overheard the conversation, one Peter Denning. He sidled up to him and said, "We've got Mr. Garner. I'm going to have a word with him about you. He'll be ready for you." And that was me as a young pro. But there's Dasher Denning, hardened pro that he was, looking after the younger players, which was brilliant. But yeah, that was a fantastic experience for me, that game, and had many happy memories that year.
I'm sure you did. And obviously then you had a couple more seasons here. Good and bad seasons?
Yeah, I think injuries, frustration, change of captains, the issues with Somerset, with Richards and Botham, Garner all leaving. It was a difficult time to play for the club then. Yeah, it was tough. And maybe I felt a bit of love of the game as well. But I blame no one. Yes, I could have got a bit fitter on occasions. Injuries didn't help. But I'm proud of what I achieved. I wish it lasted a bit longer. I had an opportunity to go to Sussex for a 2-year deal. But being a Somerset boy through and through, I wasn't going to go anywhere.
So you went out of the game?
I did, and had a bit of a crossroads, really. In the pre-season, the winter, because I'm sure many people will know that in the winter we had to fend for ourselves. So I used to work in my father's building firm. My partner, Kim, then said to me one day, "Well, what actually do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I do enjoy coaching." So that's the direction I took, and I haven't looked back since, and I've really enjoyed it.
Now, you obviously, apart from playing cricket days, you know very much for your connections with Millfield, which is where you went.
Yeah, I had 20 years there, which I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed. I helped over 20 kids turn pro. A number of them came here. I think it started off with Wes Durston. Then we had Craig Keyswetter, James Hildreth, Errol Sapaya, Max Waller. And the list went on and on, really. And not just Somerset, but other counties. But obviously, that was very special to me, to help nurture somebody through 4 or 5 years at school and then come and see them here. And I was commentating as well then, so that was another buzz, to commentate on these guys that you've taught for the last 5, 6 years. And majority are still friends, and we're still in touch, which is really nice.
What about Keesley? Do you keep in touch with him?
Not a great deal, no. I'm very proud of the fact that I drove him down here for his trial when he was 16. And Somerset didn't take to him because he played in an aggressive way. You know, sometimes I said to myself at school, he's opening the batting, he's coming down the wicket, third ball of the over to the quickie. What's going on? You can't play like this, professional level. So actually, I think it might have been the Somerset second team game, a keeper got injured. I don't know if that was Carl Gazard or not. Broke a thumb. He put the gloves on, got 100, never looked back. I went on to, well, sadly, ended his career quite early, but in World Cup winner, man of the match gold award, wasn't it? Which was incredible. But it's not just him. I'm very proud of all the guys that have gone on. Kieran Powell played 49 tests for the West Indies. Daniel Bell-Drummond, who I still mentor and coach, he's now captain of Kent, which is a very proud moment for me and him. They're all over the country, which is phenomenal. But or equally, there's the players that's playing for Butley Seconds 20 years later. And I'm proud that I've given them that love of the game, and they're still playing cricket.
Because that's what it's all about, isn't it, really? Yes, it's about playing professional cricket for your counties, but it's also about the game itself.
When I was a youngster, if it rained on a Saturday, I'd be distraught. What could I do with my day? I want to play cricket. And that's why I'm very passionate about West Somerset. and the opportunities. I've gone back to Minehead this summer, did some coaching with some young lads there, and Mr. Stuart Tubble, who's Mr. Minehead Cricket. We often talk, and any chance I get back to try and put some coaching back into the area, I will do so, because I know how difficult it is for those kids to access coaching. It's not all, they can all not get to Taunton and pay big money for coaches, so I'm more than happy to put something back into the game.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And what about Somerset years? You played under what, 4 captains?
Yeah, started off with Mr. Rose, but interesting character, Mr. Rose. I think anyone could have captained that side, to be fair. I think even you could have had a go at that one, and me. It was an incredible side. You had young, hungry players. You know, Viv came over as a young guy, and he was still hungry at that point. And it was an incredible group of players. Ian Botham took over for a season, which was very interesting. Never a dull moment. Some interesting decisions in terms of selection and how we go about it. You could say Vic Marks was a safe route. Peter Roebuck, an interesting, difficult time for some of us. It was at the back end of what had happened to the Big Two. That was a tough season as well. But but as I said, with Bath, there was never a dull moment. I wouldn't say tactically got it right very often, but it was always entertaining, that's for sure.
And I'm guessing, are there any 1 or 2 sort of little anecdotes or stories you can tell me about those times you're allowed to talk about?
Well, I find it very bizarre that you're playing John Player League and Benson Hedges competition, and before you come into the dressing room, there's box after box of cigars and cigarettes that are you just help yourself to. Both of them as captain, you're reading a newspaper, then it's a light. There was many a thing going on like that. It was just incredible, and he did party well, as we all know, and sometimes it took us younger players too far in the evenings before a big game or so. But I remember we won a big cup match once. He decided we'd all go to, there was a pub in town called the Four Alls in those days. And we got there, we were having a nice evening, and then he decided we would stay there until the sun came up. So that's what we had to do. So we had an all-nighter. So it was some amazing moments and times. But the thing was, after a game, we would always go to the bar with the players and with the public, with supporters. It was a family club. Socially, everyone interacted, and that was really good. The fans knew that the players would be in the bar after the game. They would come in, and it was a fantastic atmosphere.
Now, obviously, since you've finished at Millfield, you're still involved with a number of players, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm a freelance coach now, so I go to different schools. I'm still working with Beau Drummond, a few others. JT Language, who's just played a couple of games, but that was when he was younger. But I'm still working with a few. I'm still doing the radio stuff, which I really enjoy, for BBC Somerset. Started off way back in the day with someone called Simon White. Yes. He used to do the breakfast show for BBC Somerset. He introduced me that about 30 years ago. And then the voice of Somerset Sport, Mr. Phil Tottle, who was great entertainment to work with. He used to do Bristol City, Yeovil Town, Somerset Cricket, a little bit of Gloucester. But I had many a happy, fun time with Mr. Tottle. And of late, Anthony Gibson has now taken over the chair. So I tend to do one-day matches only at the moment, but I'm hoping to expand that because I sort of getting close to semi-retirement. So I'd like to do a little bit more of the radio or even break into Somerset TV when they do their matches, whatever. But I really do enjoy it.
But it's difficult not to enjoy cricket at Somerset, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. It's a special atmosphere, isn't it? There's a special relationship. When you look around the ground now, you're on top of the supporters are on top of the players. It's very intense, it's a great atmosphere. And everybody seems to know everybody. Not quite the rivalry I used to enjoy with Gloucester and Glamorgan. I feel that edge has gone a little bit. When we played, there were a lot of locals from both. I think now it's not quite got that same potency that we used to enjoy. They were very special, especially if you won, obviously.
Absolutely. Obviously, now looking back over your career, I mean, is there one moment that sticks out as something that you will always be with you?
I think your debut, that's very special. I had many, many happy moments. Walking out of Lords for the first time, going down through the long room, and you go onto the grass. It's almost like you've got slippers on walking onto the outfield. It's just an incredible feeling, very uplifting. My career bowling figures, my one and only first class 50, that's very special to me. Now, there's so many happy memories that I can take with me, but I'm very fortunate to have a career of playing and coaching cricket. You know, I'm coming to hopefully retirement soon, and I feel very privileged to have played cricket and coached for so long.
Lifetime in cricket in Somerset.
Yeah, very much so. And when I had that opportunity to go elsewhere, it wasn't for me.
Brilliant. We've all enjoyed you over the years, Bart. Thank you very much for talking to us today.
Pleasure.